I love the opening of this movie because the technical aspects are fantastic. We hear the music kick in immediately, and that grabs my attention. Then the visual design of the imagery that I'm seeing is spectacular, and then I see this ship just sliding across the screen. It's mwah! It's amazing. I love it. It sucks me into the universe of this movie. The ship comes in, there's some robot with a camera on its face, there's this little girl running, and I'm sucked in. Then there's a father hugging his daughter, and then the mother is giving the kid some sort of necklace that has a crystal on it. And then the woman calls Forrest Whitaker, and this is what happens.
So, it's Lyra. It's happened. He's come for us.
You know what to do.
Now, at that moment, I was confused because he says, you know what to do. Why is she calling him then? How does she know what to do? As an audience, I don't know what she's supposed to do. I think that's a little thing that movies do when they'll show you something, but they don't give you the full details of what's happening. But then I kind of understood it as I thought about it, because then I said to myself, okay, they called Forrest Whitaker because of Krennic, Ben Mendelsohn's character, coming in. And so they had this whole thing set up where Forrest Whitaker is supposed to grab Galen Erso's daughter. And Galen Erso's wife made Saw Gerrera aware of the situation.
I love you, Stardust.
Trust the Force.
Let's give a round of applause for Ben Mendelsohn in this movie. I love this guy. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
It's a miracle.
Immediately, I love Ben Mendelsohn's performance here.
Oh, look, here's Lyra back from the dead. It's a miracle.
Off the bat, I think Mads Mikkelsen's performance is a bit odd. To me, it feels like he's performing on a stage. It feels like he's acting in a stage play. And while he's having conversations with Ben Mendelsohn's character, I feel the intensity from Ben Mendelsohn's performance. And so when I see these two acting at the beginning, I just think it feels odd, because it feels like these two actors are performing in two different things.
I'd be of no help, Krennic. My mind just isn't what it was. I have trouble remembering even simple things.
It's a real art reading cue cards without letting the viewers at home know you're doing it.
But when I thought about it, I guess I can chalk it up to Galen Erso was putting up a front to make Krennic believe that his wife was dead and that he was alone on the farm. But Krennic is not an idiot.
Galen, you're an inspired scientist, but you're a terrible liar.
You will never win.
Do it.
One of the other things that I love most about this movie is how the movie takes us to different planets in the galaxy. With them presenting this to me, I have a feeling for the whole scope of this film's universe. Another thing that I love about this movie is how its story projects a sense of desperation from the very beginning.
He's telling people they're making a weapon. The Kyber crystals, that's what they're for.
What kind of weapon?
Look, I have to go. What kind of weapon? A planet killer. That's what he called it.
You have people working for the rebellion like Cassian Andor, and Cassian Andor grew up in this war since he was 6 years old, and that's all the real backstory we get from him, besides him shooting one of his fellow colleagues in the back.
I'll never climb out of here, my arm.
Calm down. We'll be all right. There's an Imperial defector in Jeddah, a pilot. He's been held by Saw Gerrera. He's claiming the Emperor is creating a weapon with the power to destroy entire planets.
And Cassian Andor is an assassin, and he's following orders.
Galen Erso is vital to the Empire's weapons program. Forget what you heard in there. There will be no extraction.
You find him, you kill him.
She thinks there is a different mission.
Captain Andor's mission is to authenticate the pilot's story and then, if possible, find your father.
Given the gravity of the situation and your history with Saul, we're hoping that he will help us locate your father and return him to the Senate for testimony.
So we have a planet killer. It's called the Death Star. And we are witnessing the final stages of its construction. Even though we've had the Death Star in pretty much all of these Star Wars movies, I can feel it in this movie. I can feel how much of a threat it is in this movie.
Booty, Rook, cargo pilot. Local boy, huh?
Existaci, Trovosunoto Mitaka.
Okay, I can hear you. You didn't capture me, I came in myself, I defected.
Galen Erso gave him a message to deliver to Saw Gerrera. But then they think that this is a whole plot against Saw Gerrera to assassinate him. So there's paranoia on every side. Then we have Krennic, who has a problem with Tarkin. And Tarkin is played by an actor who had Peter Cushing's face CGI'd over his, just to give this continuity and a connection to the franchise as a whole. At the beginning, it looked great with the mirror shot. With the mirror shot, him looking through the window, it looked great. And I was like, okay, but as soon as they showed his face, I thought it looked bad. They should have shot this, in my opinion, over the shoulder or from a distance. They shouldn't have showed his face up close because I thought his face looked terrible in this movie. Krennic has a problem with Tarkin, and Tarkin has a problem with Krennic. Krennic has aspirations, and Tarkin is trying to hold Krennic down. And I believe that Tarkin is using all of the film's events against Krennic, because every time there's something going on, Tarkin gives a little piece of information to Krennic, and then Krennic goes off and does his thing. But then it's like he's not giving him all of the information. Maybe they were both fighting for positional roles within the Galactic Empire. There's so much going on in this movie. That's my point. There's so much going on in this movie, and I feel it. And I feel each character, even though I don't know a whole lot about them. We don't get a lot of information, but the progression of the movie, its urgency, its sense of desperation projected from the characters onto me, I felt it. And in the music and in the artistry of the images, all of it coming together is mwah, mwah, mwah.
It's a miracle.
Now, one of the characters that I love in this movie is K2SO. I love all of K2SO's scenes. I love all of his dialogue. I love all of his interactions with the other characters.
Where are you taking these prisoners?
These are prisoners.
Yes, where are you taking them?
I am taking them to imprison them in prison.
He is taking us to...
Quiet!
There are a lot of explosions, but two people blending in.
Freeze! Right there!
You're right. I should just wait on the ship. I'm a reprogrammed Imperial droid.
His death scene made me cry. And it was a freaking droid. It was a freaking droid. And it died. And it had the most personality out of all of the characters. And I loved the droid. And when the droid died, I was sad. I cried heavy, heavy tears. And another character that I love is Donnie Yen. Donnie Yen was great in this movie, playing the blind man and his partner, who was his best friend. I didn't gravitate towards him much because I didn't get enough illustration about him. I felt more of a connection with Donnie Yen.
Is he a Jedi?
There are no Jedi here anymore. Only dreamers like this fool.
The Force did protect me.
I protected you. Where are you going?
I'm gonna follow Jin. Her path is clear.
Alone? Good luck!
I don't need luck. I have you.
But there are multiple funny moments with Donnie Yen's character in this movie.
Are you kidding me? I'm blind.
One with the Force Force is with me. I'm one with the Force. The Force
Pray?
is with me. I'm one with the Force. The Force is with me. I'm one with the Force.
Really?
The Force is with me. I'm one with the Force. The Force is with me. I'm one with the Force.
He's praying for the door to open.
So there's a point in the movie where Jyn Erso agrees to help the rebellion track down her father, Galen Erso. So Jyn Erso thinks that the rebellion is going to bring her father in for questioning so they can get the details about this planet-killing weapon. But behind the scenes, the rebellion doesn't tell Jyn Erso that Cassian's real objective is to assassinate her father. Why did Jyn Erso agree to help the rebellion track down Saw Gerrera, who was supposed to then lead them to Galen Erso? The only thing that I can chalk this up to is I think that after Jyn hadn't seen her father for 15 years, now she has an opportunity to possibly track him down. Deep down in her heart somewhere, she probably thought that she would be able to have a reunion with her father. And when she's talking to Saw Gerrera and spilling these lines about, oh, I only helped the rebellion to get to you because that's all I really wanted to do, I don't agree with that. I think she was just putting up a front. So once Jyn Erso pours her heart out to Saw Gerrera says to Jyn, I have a message that was given to me from the cargo pilot that was apparently given to him from your father.
This is the message I was sent.
So, if you are watching this, then perhaps there's a chance to save the Alliance. Perhaps there's a chance to explain myself, and though I don't dare hope for too much, a chance for Jyn, if she's alive, if you can possibly find her, to let her know that my love for her has never faded, and how desperately I've missed her. I can't imagine what you think of me. When I was taken, I faced some bitter truths. I was told that soon enough Krennic would have you as well. As time went by, I knew that you were either dead or so well hidden that he would never find you. I knew if I refused to work, if I took my own life, it would only be a matter of time before Krennic realized he no longer needed me to complete the project. So I did the one thing nobody expected. I lied. I learned to lie. I played the part of a beaten man resigned to the sanctuary of his work. I made myself indispensable, and all the while, I laid the groundwork for my revenge. I've placed a weakness deep within the system, a flaw so small and powerful they will never find it. But Jyn, if you're listening, my beloved, so much of my life has been wasted. I try to think of you only in the moments when I'm strong because the pain of not having you with me, your mother, our family, and the pain of that loss is so overwhelming I risk failing even now. It's just so hard not to think of you. Think of where you are. My Stardust.
Krennic and Tarkin, who are having a workplace dispute, decide to blow up the city of Jeddah because they both believe that the defective cargo pilot is there giving away the secrets of their master plan.
Target Jeddah City. Prepare single reactor ignition.
Oh, it's beautiful. That was only an inkling of its destructive potential.
I will tell him that I will be taking control over the weapon I first spoke of years ago, effective immediately.
My achievement!
Saw Gerrera dies. I don't care. Forrest Whitaker is a fantastic actor, but this character just felt weird to me. So Krennic was getting information from Tarkin about one of the scientists who were working on the Death Star, gave the information about the Death Star's flaws to the defective cargo pilot. So then Krennic goes over there to figure out who the snitch is, or who the tattletale is, and he discovers that it was the man in charge, Galen Erso. Cassian decides not to kill Galen Erso because he's thinking about the bigger picture. But it's too late because the rebellion comes in with their fighter jets and they start blowing up the base. And I heard some people online saying that this is a corny death and this is a generic death that we've seen 1,000 times, and I agree with all that. But then I felt it because, for me, I looked at it from this angle. Jyn is holding her father in her arms, and it's heartbreaking because he says the line,
I have so much to tell you.
And then he dies. Usually within a moment like this, I think the person who's about to die gets to say all of these beautiful things to the one they love. But in this moment, he didn't get to say that. He said, I have so much beautiful things to tell you. But then he died. But he did say those beautiful things that he wanted to say to her in the hologram. I went along with it. I felt it. Keep it going. The team goes back to the rebel base where they try to explain what the Empire is actually up to. But the rebellion doesn't believe Jyn Erso, even though she delivers an inspiring speech.
The time to fight is now.
Yes.
Every moment you waste is another step closer to the ashes of Jeddah.
You're asking us to invade an Imperial installation based on nothing but hope.
Rebellions are built on hope.
So the rebellion decides not to believe what Jyn Erso has to say, but then Cassian comes in with the crew who wants to help out, and then later on, the rebellion comes in and they help out, so it's a cliche thing, but it works. So the team is flying to the base where the records for the destruction of the Death Star are located, and they get into the base with no problem. And you could say it's a movie convenience, and it is. But I like how the movie presents it with, hey, it could be Jyn Erso rubbing her Kyber crystal necklace and being one with the Force. Then Jyn Erso gives another one of her fantastic speeches.
They've no idea we're coming. They've no reason to expect us. If we can make it to the ground, we'll take the next chance. And the next. On and on until we win. Or the chances are spent.
And then Cassian Andor has a nice insert.
Make 10 men feel like 100.
I cried and I felt it. Let's do this! So Cassian, Jyn, and K2SO infiltrate the base. They go to the archive room. This is where K2SO died. Cassian and Jyn have to steal these plans about the Death Star in a series of complicated sequences.
What am I supposed to do with this?
Hyperspace tracking, navigational systems.
2 screens down. Structural engineering. Open that one.
Stardust. That's it.
How do you know that?
I know because it's me.
Okay.
Climb! Climb! You can still send the plans to the fleet. If they open the shield gate, you can broadcast from the tower.
Jesus Christ.
Bodhi, are you there? Did you call the fleet?
I can't get to the shuttle. I can't plug in.
You have to. They have to hit that gate. If the shield's open, we can send the plans.
It's a miracle.
Melshi, come in, please.
I'm tied in at my end.
I just need an open line.
Hang on. The master switch. It's out there, that console.
I've got it!
Careful! You okay?
The rebellion comes in with their fighter jets and they blow up the shield because they can't transmit the signal with the shield there, so the shield blows up, and then the plans are transmitted because everything worked out because Donnie Yen and believing in the Force.
With me. I'm one with the Force and the Force is with me. One with the Force and the Force is with me. I'm one with the Force, and the Force is with me.
Serious! Come back!
I'm of the Force.
Yes! Hero! Come with me!
I cried when he died because when his friend, his Lucky Charm, was holding him in his arms, he had this line.
Look for the Force.
True.
You will always find me.
And then his Lucky Charm died, and it was sad. And then after the signal is transmitted to the rebellion, the defective cargo pilot dies. And then Tarkin, playing his master hand.
I want to speak with Director Krennic.
He's there, sir. On Scarif.
The original plans for this station are kept there, are they not?
They are.
Prepare for the jump to hyperspace and inform Lord Vader.
I'm Jyn Erso, daughter of Galen and Lyra. You've lost.
It's a miracle.
In a very nice visual moment, Cassian and Jyn die. And in a sense of poetic justice, Krennic dies from the weapon that he helped create. Then we have one of the best scenes in the movie, if not the best scene. Vader comes in and he just starts wiping fools out, and I remember this sequence being so intense that when I first saw this movie in IMAX, as soon as the movie was over, we're leaving the auditorium, and I saw a guy who was super tall dressed up as Darth Vader, and I was so excited I shook his hand. I was like, man, you killed them fools. Now I think some people complain about Darth Vader having no reason to be in this movie. I beg to differ. Darth Vader is only in 2 scenes, and how I look at his inclusion is you have Krennic, who is an employee. You have Tarkin, who is another employee. But they both want to be at higher positions in the company. And so, who do you have to please? Who do you have to get to and get your point across to in order to rise up the ranks? You have to talk to the person who's in charge, who is under the other person, the main person, the owner. And Darth Vader is the one in charge underneath the Emperor, who we don't see. But they go to Vader because Vader is worried about these plans leaking out. So then once things go to shit and Tarkin plays his final hand at Krennic, that's when Vader comes in to try and clean up a mess that has already been made. And I love how this movie ends. It perfectly blends into the original trilogy.
Help.
So I feel you can watch episodes 1 through 3, then insert Rogue One, and it perfectly ties in to the original Star Wars film. There's so many things that I love about this movie. Not only the visuals, the music, the acting, but I'm engaged with the story. I'm following along. There may be some little tiny nitpicks that I can take out here and there, but overall, I'm immersed in everything that this movie is presenting to me from beginning to end. So final rating, I love this movie. That's all I have to say. So as always, thank you for watching, and I will talk to you next time.
It's a miracle.